Hi, hello, good morning. It's Tour de Fleece day one. It's the 4th of July. It's raining. So I last year sort of made a weekend TDF tradition of going to the gym, then the pool, then spinning all day. Tried to do that. Didn't realize it was raining, forgot my towel. A bunch of things went wrong, but I did go to the gym. Just not the pool. So I'm home. I'm going to make and eat breakfast, clear out the entire kitchen of anything food related, dye the Superwash BFL massive braid, and while that is doing things, I'm going to continue spinning the cotton that I started last night. Here's that. Hello, it is technically the 4th. It's past midnight and people are annoying, so I'm awake. Here's what I'm doing. This is going remarkably well, shadow aside. It's lumpy, it's not perfect, but goodness, I did not think I was going to be able to spin cotton this thin. I would absolutely recommend brushing some cotton fiber with dog brushes. Brand new sentence. Okay. I will talk to you in the morning. So that's my plan. I'll check back in with you when I have my dye set up. And I really don't know what colors I'm going to use, what the plan is. I fear I will end up doing the same color scheme I always want to do. And will that be interesting? I don't know. A lot of things to do today. Let's get going. Well, hello. Fancy meeting you here in my kitchen. My setup is set up. I have the wool still in the braid. I'll explain my plan in a minute. In water with a little bit of citric acid. I have my colors set up over here. I have purple and fuchsia mixed. I have purple and silver gray mixed, and I have emerald and chartreuse mixed. I'm pointing off camera, you can't see any of this. And I have gray and black mixed in this big cup. I mean, it's a small cup, but it's bigger than the other cups. This is nothing, it's just here. I have removed everything, even remotely food related, from the kitchen. It is all either put away or in a different room now. I have even taken the knives off of my magnet thing. Everything. Nothing food related. Even the towels I have in here now are specifically for dyeing, and I'm ready to clean every surface after this. The cat is distracted in another room because there's no way this could be good for a cat. And I have, again, already mixed my dyes off camera with a serious mask on because you don't want to inhale dye particles. The only thing I think I'm not doing by the book is I'm not wearing gloves because I really don't want to touch this. And I've noticed that when I do wear gloves, I make more of a mess. If I get my fingers in the dye at any point, I will change my mind and I will put on gloves. But right now, bare hands. So the dye plan, like I said, I left the fiber in the braid because I really want to keep the colors separate because I'm doing purple and green and I don't want it to get too the Joker. So I don't want that. I don't want that. So going in with the two different purples and the green, again, keeping them separate. And then I'm going over everything with that gray to fill in the gaps and to darken and muddy everything a little bit. That's my plan. Have I already done a purple and green colorway? Yes. But, you know, the other go-to for me was going to be green and gray and black, and I've already done that too. So I like what I like, you know? Am I in a purple mood? Maybe. For my own sanity, I'm not going to record the entire process, but I will check in with you and show you how things are going, of course. Well, I immediately got dye on my hands, so lesson learned. I am currently letting this heat up very slowly. I know this is going to be a lot of just letting it sit, so not really worried about that. I will show you when I have started to add color. I recognize this looks pretty silly, especially the green stripes, but I have the two different purples kind of alternating, and then the green going the same direction as the fiber. So hopefully it only dyes a little bit of that section. I'm going to let this sit for a while, and then I'm going to cover everything in the gray. It should be a lot more subtle than what's going on right here. Here's where we're at now. I made a little foil lid to keep the heat in. It's steaming nicely. I want to sort of keep it at this heat for a while until a lot of that pink and purple gets absorbed. Okay, I've added the black and squished everything around. It's definitely bubbling too much. I'm going to turn the heat down. One thing I'm actually kind of excited about is that I know there are areas with white, like that, but I think it looks sick. I think it looks really cool. I'm gonna put the foil back on and leave the heat on low, maybe even turn it off and just let it sit for like a good 20-30 minutes. And maybe then it'll be time to rinse it out. I don't actually know. Back to watching Chemnitz to figure out how to do the thing I'm actively doing. You know what? This looks pretty weird, but I am feeling strangely optimistic about it. I don't know. I feel like the weirder fiber is dyed, the better the yarn looks. And I'm glad the white spots are pretty small. I feel like they should blend in with the rest of it and provide a little bit of contrast. I don't know. I'm excited to spin this. And I don't think it's going to take as long to dry as I thought, just because it's so easy to kind of spread out. I'm gonna go back to, there's my creatine. I'm gonna go back to spinning the cotton. I will show you some of that process now. I tried to do some spinning a few minutes ago, and for some reason, if my hands are dry, I cannot spin cotton. So I took a moisturization break, and it seems to have helped quite a bit. Spinning cotton from Rolex gives it a nice something to grab onto instead of just short, slippery, little staple length fibers that don't stick to anything. I'm gonna keep doing this for a while. Here's something crucial that I had never thought about before. I was looking for ice packs, and I've said this before, I hate using Amazon, but there are some like medical type things that I really cannot find anywhere else. Or at least I don't know what like reputable websites to whatever. I am looking at a $60 knee sleeve from like an indie brand, but unfortunately I have two knees. Anyway, look what I found. This was made for me. This has been in the freezer. I wore these last night. There are two of them. I wore these last night, and I woke up with my hands feeling kind of better than they have in a while. They're so good. That's all. If you have specific pain, targeted special little ice packs are apparently great. Okay, so I'm taking a little break to eat lunch, and that reminded me of something. 4th of July in particular, I may hate fireworks and like everything to do with it, but I love veggie dogs. So I got two types of veggie dogs, two types of buns. We're having quite a time over here. I got on Blue Sky a couple days ago and I was talking about having my first veggie dog of the season. Got into some conversation that ended with me saying, "There's no rules in hot dogs." And the cryptid next door made this about it. And I'm so honored. I just had to share that with you guys. If this is my legacy, fine. That's fine with me. Okay, this lighting is super weird, but I finished the cotton. Look how teeny tiny that is. My hands are super stained, and it's not even from dyeing yarn earlier, long story. But look at that. I do not know if cotton, in the same way that I would do with wool, needs to be rested before it's plied, but I think it's, it couldn't be a bad idea. So I'm going to set this to the side and I'm going to do something else, which is that I'm going to attempt to apply this old first attempt at cotton. I'm just going to put it in a center pole ball and make a 2-ply and see what happens. Hello, it's TDF day 2. Last night it got dark and loud, which is my favorite condition to film in, but I decided against it. Dark and loud. Fireworks. 4th of July. Right. I did keep spinning. I finished the blended Rolag cotton, and this is what it looks like now. I also plied my first cotton attempt, and it turned out way better than I could have expected. I really thought it was going to be just kind of a lumpy mess, but the yarn actually looks and feels pretty good. So, how did that happen? I also started spinning the purple and gray Targhee, and it's so much fun to work with. I am really glad I drafted it as much as I did, pre-drafted it. That helps a lot. It is so stretchy and springy that it is a little bit tricky to keep consistent, but it looks to be really forgiving. So I don't know that it's actually going to be a problem. It's a fun spin, and I hear that it fluffs up a lot when you finish it and wash it and stuff. So I'm really excited to see that one. I don't know how I'm going to apply it yet. I'm thinking maybe a 3-ply. Anyway, today, continuing the Targhee, plying the second try cotton. No other plans.
Sam Reich recently put out a video talking about how, like, yeah, once again, feel free to give your password to anybody for any reason.
Oh, good. Thank you, Sam Reich. That's my real dad. Hot dog time. The purple and gray Targhee is done. I think I said this was 8 ounces. I don't know why I said that. It's definitely 4. But look how pretty. Definitely gonna let this rest overnight. I'm gonna apply the cotton, and then I'm done spinning for the day. I'm gonna catch up on my crochet and knitting projects because I haven't touched them in a couple days. So let's apply some cotton, and then I will show you tomorrow what the cotton looks like after it's been washed and dried. Hello, it's TDF day 3. It's so early and I'm about to go to the gym, so I do not look put together at all. And I'm going to use this opportunity to show you the daylight pictures of the things I finished yesterday. So here is the Rolag cotton that I finished plying. It is currently still drying, so this is what I have right now. If it is dry later today, it should be dry later today, I'll show you the hanked up version. And here is the purple and gray Targhee that I finished spinning. I am so happy with this. I did decide to go with a 3-ply, and I have caked it up into 3 little yarn cakes to ply that later today. And here is an outdoor lighting picture of the finally dry superwash BFL that I dyed. Does it still look pretty weird? Yes, more white than I wanted, maybe a little bit, but I'm still gonna spin it as is. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm gonna go do things, and then I'll talk to you on my break because it's Monday. Okay, I'm back with the now dry second version of the cotton yarn. This is the one I spun from Rolags. This is the first attempt that I spun just like from the comb top, sort of from the fold. Really short staple length, so hard to do that, but you know, whatever. So washing does a lot. Washing does so much to make me like a yarn that I think I don't like on the bobbin. I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. I'll put up the pictures of them in the sunlight next to each other right here. Ultimately, I think this was a successful experiment. Now we're going to jump right into plying the Targhee and tapping on a table with our hands.
This has been a really zen episode. This feels like we're punishing our minds. It's worth it though.
I just really like Pinterest living. This is the dog that I used in the tutorial. So
This isn't actually from 2003. Oh, that makes it so much spookier.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be haunted. It's like in Jen's eyes when she's teasing us.
Here it is, plied. I'm so excited. It looks so good. Except for whatever that is. There were a few little pigtail moments, so not ideal, but that one is really tiny. I'm gonna get this on the Nitty Naughty, which will be excruciating, and I'm gonna wash it. I have no idea what else I'm gonna do tonight. It's only like 6 o'clock, so I still have a good amount of time to spin if I feel like it, but I really don't know what to work on next. Tomorrow is going to be a very busy day, so I probably will not have a lot to update you on. So tomorrow might just be an editing day. Hello, friends. I am on the floor. I just washed my bangs, but before that, I spent 3 hours of my life untangling the mess that I made of that Targhee in the process of washing it. 3 hours. And that is going to be the end of this video, but let me tell you why. In that 3 hours, I became very familiar with this yarn. I've gotten a real up-close look at this yarn, and I know it's incredible. It's beautiful. It's perfect. And I'm so excited to start the next video showing you this yarn. So we're going to end today and this vlog with a huge L. And we're going to start the next one with a massive win. And that's just going to have to be okay. Next time you see me, I won't be on the floor. Okay, see you later.